What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be taking a look into this 10th anniversary roadmap that the devs have released for us, which is super exciting. This is definitely one of the coolest things that they've ever done for like part of the countdown celebration leading up to the anniversary. So what we're looking at here is basically a layout of all of the units that they plan to release during the anniversary. Now, they did advertise that this is going to include both like new headlining units, but also like easy A's and potential super easy A's. So we will be factoring in all of that stuff here. Basically, we're going to do a little bit of guesswork and try and figure out what some of these slots are going to end up being filled with. There's a couple of things that we know for sure. There's a couple of things that we're pretty sure about we can make a solid gamble at, and then there's some things that are just going to be pure guesses and speculation. So yeah, stick with me here as we get through all of them. I've got some decent fun ideas. So yeah, basically we're just going to go through each of these sections one at a time. You could see the very first thing that's pretty obvious is that they've sectioned this out to the different the different versions of Dragon Ball Z here. We've got GT, the original Dragon Ball, obviously every different saga of the Dragon Ball Z franchise, as well as Dragon Ball Super. And then the movies do count. They're kind of mixed in here with Dragon Ball Z because it does specifically say Dragon Ball Z movies, right? So, yeah, so we've got all of that. Now, there's another little piece that I haven't seen many people talking about, but I think it actually is relevant. Now, this is something, man, I could be proven completely wrong about this, and I'm actually just noticing something else now, too, that goes a step further. Okay. So, what I noticed was that not all of the squares here on this roadmap are the same size. Now, they've gone for a very funky, web looking like layout. Obviously all of this stuff isn't like super like linear with like diagonals or like verticals and horizontals and everything. There's a lot of like diagonals going on, but it is just a little bit odd to me that they made specific squares bigger sizes than others. At first it looked to me like there was just two sizes. I'm actually noticing now, if you look at the Android Cell Saga section, the two boxes that are side by side on top actually show that there are three sizes of boxes here. Oh, no, wait, never mind. Those ones are just staggered a little bit. They're not actually different sizes. Okay, yeah. So there's small boxes and large boxes here. If you take a look at the three headlining LRs that are already listed here, they are all in large boxes. So my assumption here is that the large boxes are indicating new headlining units, where it's going to be a brand new character brought to the game, and then all of the smaller boxes are going to be all of the easy A's and super easy A's and stuff like that. So I went ahead and highlighted all the ones that I saw that were the bigger boxes. So just to give you guys an easier time, these are all of the ones here that are bigger. So we'll be keeping that in mind as we go through. Basically, to me, that means that all of these units have to be new headlining units, and we can't utilize these slots for like easy A's for existing characters, as far as our speculation goes. Okay, so starting out, we'll start in the upper left corner here. We'll take a look at Dragon Ball GT. So this one's pretty simple off the bat because, like, there's only one slot here for Dragon Ball GT. So, we know that it's going to be the LR Super Saiyan 4s, because the 7th anniversary LRs are both slated to get easy A's during this anniversary, right? So, and so that would be a pretty big shock if it didn't end up being them taking up that GT slot. And then obviously that follows our metric here, because that means that the only slot there would not be a headliner. It is just saved for an easy A because it's one of those smaller squares. And so with that, we might as well add the LR Gods as well. They're going to be over here in the super section, but yeah, we know that both of those would be getting an easy A together, so that could fill up those two slots. Okay, and then moving on to, we'll move down to the Dragon Ball Saga. Okay, so for this, really quick, I am actually going to, switch to, let's see, here we go, website view for you guys. So we'll quickly, glance through Dragon Ball Saga here. Again, I really didn't want to look through GT just because there was no reason to. Like, we know that that one slot is going to be taken up by that character. It's like it's like 99% guaranteed to happen. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, just glancing through Dragon Ball Saga, I don't feel like there's really a lot of like anniversary level characters in here. You know what I mean? They're not going to pick someone like Launch or a Kid Chi-Chi or a Bulma or like one of these like, you know, a Kid Krillin or a Forearm Tien. These are like these just aren't anniversary level characters. It's unfortunate to think that really the only real salt we have here is Demon King Piccolo and Kid Goku, right? Which, you know, obviously we would want that to be like a major dual Dokkan Fest of some type, like during Golden Week or the Worldwide Download Celebration, even anniversary headliners together. But the problem is, on the roadmap, we only have one slot for Dragon Ball, and I think it would be very, very dumb of them to waste a Kid Goku or a Demon King Piccolo on the like singular, you know, headlining LR and then lose out on that chance to release a really awesome Dokkan Fest later. So, because of that, I don't think that Dragon Ball slot is going to be taken up by either of them. I think, actually, well, we can go ahead and jump back over, and I'll tell you exactly what I think here. So I think that it is going to be... Where is it at here? Here we go. Oh, whoopsie. 1 second. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so I think it's going to be like a full power Jackie Chun. Now, part of this is a cope. One of the only units to date that I'm missing in the game is this depicted right here, this physical world tournament Jackie Chun. I don't have him, so it would be really nice to be able to get some type of full power Jackie Chun in my account. But yeah, I think that could be a neat idea just for, you know, make it like the free-to-play LR for the anniversary or something. You know, we've had, during the 6th anniversary, we did have a, you know, a Master Roshi LR. That was the free-to-play LR, so he's definitely of the status of the, you know, the type of character that can end up in that slot. So yeah, that's my cope pick. I don't really think realistically, like if I had to put money on it, it's probably not going to be Jackie Chun. I don't think that he's quite hype enough for the anniversary. But again, just as far as if you discount Demon King Piccolo and Kid Goku, then there really aren't that many hype options left from Dragon Ball, unfortunately. Okay, so that's basically what we've got for that. Then we'll move on to Saiyan Saga here. So again, we can take a look at the website and see what's going on with Saiyan Saga here. So what we're going to be on the hunt for is like Dokkan Fests. I don't think that anything on that roadmap is going to be indicative of like banner unit EZAs. That's not usually something they do much of during the anniversary. Usually they spend more time on like the big ticket EZAs, right? So now if we're talking about the 7th anniversary, the Part 1 headliners we know are going to be EZAing, so it makes perfect sense for the Part 2s to be EZAing as well, which is the Giant Ape Vegeta here, and then the STR Kaioken Goku. So those are actually my picks that I think are going to fill those slots, is going to be these two units EZAing. But yeah, it also supposedly could be like some other Dokkan Fest. I just don't think that it's very likely, because we're looking at units like Int Yamcha, like Gohan and Piccolo here, or physical Raditz, and I think all of these units are just a little bit too new to receive their EZAs just yet. I mean, Raditz could be it, but here's the thing. I really don't think it's going to be Yamcha or Piccolo and Gohan, and if Raditz takes up one of the slots, then who's the other EZA, right? Because there's really no one else. So yeah, and also, again, just Raditz being the, you know, for like the anniversary, I don't think he's hype enough. I don't know. So I think it makes a lot of sense that it would be the Goku and Vegeta here. Alright, perfect. So yeah, we'll go ahead and add them to the list here. There we go, Saiyan Saga, Goku, and Vegeta. Alright, and then, let's see. So, moving on to the Namek Saga picks. This one could be a little bit interesting. The picks that I put on here, I guess I'll show you guys first since we're here, would be the EZAs for the 21, or the, I guess these are 2020? Worldwide download celebration characters. Yeah, so the Namek Goku and Full Power Frieza here. Them receiving their EZAs could be decent. Obviously, we haven't seen much representation for like this combo of units, you know, Full Power Frieza and Namek Goku and stuff. This is the last time they actually saw any attention was when these units released. So they're definitely overdue for some attention. I think this is definitely the most worthy thing that makes sense to come as far as Namek Saga, you know, coverage for the anniversary, right? Most of the other Namek Saga stuff is probably not anniversary level. So I think that this is a pretty solid, you know, guess at maybe what's to come. But yeah, let's go ahead and fact check that and just take a look at the Planet Namek Saga category and see how it's looking. So we'll pay attention to the LRs first and see, like, yeah, these are, everything here is, like, either already EZA'd or way too, like, the Ginyu and then the Gohan and Piccolo are probably too new to EZA. But yeah, the Namek Goku and Frieza are, like, perfect picks in there. And then same deal, these two Dokkan Fests are not old enough yet to EZA. This guy's already EZA, definitely wouldn't be coming up on like a super EZA or anything, and that's it. The category's pretty small, right? So yeah, I'm thinking that's the best answer, is the two of those LRs to be getting their EZAs. That would be very, very hype stuff, right? Okay. So next, we'll move on to the Android Cell Saga. So now this is the first. Oh, well, I guess aside from the Jackie Chun with the you know, free to play LR pick, which is the one I'm going with. This is the first saga we're coming across here where we have a potential headlining unit, right? So the unit that I think is going to be taking that spot, my pick is a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, more specifically like a Family Kamehameha unit. It would be really cool to get that animation voiced finally. I don't think we have that voiced yet as like an active skill or something. And I think this could be a decent pick for the Dokkan Fest headliner potentially. So we know that the Dokkan Fest for part 1 is going to be the Blue Vegeta. It looks like an exchange unit or not an exchange unit, but a unit super attack unit with you know, with mastered Ultra Instinct Goku. So I think that could be really cool to have a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan that mimics the same kind of thing and is a unit super attack unit with like the Super Saiyan Goku and stuff. So that could be really cool, especially if they did make him a unit super attack unit with Super Saiyan Goku, and then they give the Namek Saga Super Saiyan Goku an EZA. Like those would go hand in hand, right? They would be able to be used side by side. That could be really cool. So yeah, I think that could be a really, really solid option for the Part 2 Dokkan Fest. And then the other units I have designated here under the Android Cell Saga would be EZAs. So one of them would be like the AGL Trunks Dokkan Fest. He could potentially get an EZA. That's a nice Dokkan Fest that falls, you know, he was in 2021, so definitely in the right time frame to be receiving an EZA now. And then also, I've got depicted here, this is AGL Transforming Cell. He is a little bit newer, but I guess potentially could see an EZA as well. Though I think what is more likely, I didn't actually put a picture of it here, but I think that the ancient Dokkan Fest Tech Perfect Cell could be receiving his Super EZA here. I think that could be probably, I think that has a higher probability than this cell here. But either way, I don't think it would be both cells. I think they would pick one cell and then probably do the Trunks as the other one. So same deal as before. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Android Cell Saga. We'll just look through and see, but again, it's the same kind of deal. Like it seems like a lot of these picks are not necessarily obvious, like I'm sure a lot of them are going to be wrong, but they seem just like they're one of a few options. There really is, if we're, you know, taking into account what's going to be potential EZAs versus what's going to be like new headliners, it seems like a lot of the EZAs are pretty obvious. It's just like the ancient stuff has already been done, and some stuff is so obviously too new to be EZA'd, right? It's just like there's a lot of banner units in here, but then yeah, Trunks would be one of the oldest Dokkan Fests, along with Transforming Cell here that doesn't yet have an EZA, and then obviously we have the Tech Cell with the Super EZA. I think the Tech Androids here are still too new. Obviously, Buff Trunks and Vegeta here are too new to get EZAs. Future Gohan already has his. Yeah, like there's really just not. I maybe, well, no, because he's still one of the newer ones. He probably wouldn't get a Super EZA yet. Yeah, I don't know. There's really not a ton here. Maybe this guy? I guess, because he came out alongside AGL Cell, right? So, maybe this guy could see some attention or like an EZA. I guess that would make sense with, if we were trying to follow along with the whole family Kamehameha thing. This is another Super Saiyan Gohan that, or Super Saiyan Goku that could be utilized for that kind of thing. I don't know. I guess it's possible we could see something from him too. An EZA from him would be really cool. But yeah, there just like aren't really a ton of options. And then, you know, even glancing at the LRs, same kind of deal. Most of these have already EZA'd, except for the couple that are brand new. I mean, I suppose this guy hasn't EZA'd yet. And again, follows along the whole family Kamehameha thing. He's another Super Saiyan Goku card, so could be interesting. That could be a very interesting EZA to see there. Yeah, so that's basically it for Android Cell Saga. I don't think there's much else there that we gotta really talk about. Okay, so then I guess the next portion we'll move on to here, will be the Buu Saga. So, this one's actually interesting. Actually, I'm gonna do the Buu Saga last, because there's something I want to talk about. Yeah, we will actually do the Buu Saga last. Okay, so we'll go on to the movies next. So for the Dragon Ball Z movies, we also have a headlining unit here, one of the larger boxes. So for this one, I actually put a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from the BoJack movie. Now, I realize this is like a little bit repetitive with the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from the Cell Saga, but I could definitely see them doing that. Keep in mind here, I didn't mention it. I'm not sure the exact verbiage of what they've hinted at, but there is something about the headlining units and how they are going to be based on rivalries and families, and like family ties and things like that, right? So obviously, you know, the Super Saiyan 4 Goku we're getting in part 1 is it's supposed to be like the quote-unquote family unit, because of, you know, him being like the grandpa to Pan and everything like that. So that, and then the rivals, I believe, is supposed to be represented. Well, I mean, I guess it could kind of be represented by either of the other two headliners, which are both combinations of Goku and Vegeta, right? So yeah, that's just another thing we have to consider with those. But so yeah, I don't know. I don't know if, I mean, obviously between, like, we would have the family thing kind of covered. It's tough to say. We'll talk about it a little bit more at the end once we have all the headliner units, like, displayed, and then go from there. And yeah, this is definitely like a flawed list. There are some things that don't perfectly match what they've hinted at, you know, coming up in the anniversary, but I think I did a good enough job. So yeah, we'll go with Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. The other thing I'll admit is that I'm not super familiar with specifically the Dragon Ball Z movies. I've seen all of the Dragon Ball movies plenty of times, and I've seen all the Dragon Ball Super movies a lot of times, but some of the Dragon Ball Z movies are very, very not fresh in my head, so there's probably a lot of moments from those that aren't yet represented in Dokkan that I just haven't thought of, so I can imagine that this movie one is a pretty bad take, and that it's possible it'd be something else entirely that definitely needs more representation, right? So that's probably my biggest L on here, but that's totally fine. Okay, so for the other two units, I wanted to point out that the first anniversary Dokkan Fests have not yet received Super EZAs. This could be a very, very hype time for that to happen, right? 10th anniversary, huge celebration. Could be really, really cool to see the first anniversary Super Gogeta and Super Janemba here get their Super EZAs. So I think that is a really, really solid possibility. Barring that not happening, there is another unit that we have to mention in here. It is this unit here, the Int Goku and Piccolo LR. Remember that a couple of months ago, they got an asset update that normally aligns with when a character is being given additional pieces of their passive when they're going to EZA. So we did see that for them a couple of months ago. Sometimes when we see that patch happen for characters, they get an easy A the next week. And sometimes when we see that patch, it's months and months before that comes up. But that did happen for this character a little while back, which means they are definitely, like, it means that the dev team has already created their easy A, right? And it's ready to go. They just have to add it to the game whenever they're planning to do that. So yeah, I think that for movies, this could be another one, potentially. Again, not a super like hype thing for anniversary, but there is something that I want to mention about this. Let's see here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and look at movie heroes here. We'll take a look through movie heroes and movie bosses so we can see the potential, what things are available. So with the LRs here, I mean, again, we have the potential for a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. This guy's pretty old and could see some attention during the anniversary, but here's what I want to mention. One of the themes is rivals. They're literally called rivals acting in concert, Goku and Piccolo. That's the main reason why I think that is a really strong idea for a pick there, because it follows the theme very, very closely. But yeah, so, I mean, maybe like Tapion and Minosha, they're definitely old enough to get an easy A, but what relevancy do they have to any of this, right? I guess family, because they're brothers? Maybe? I don't know. That would be weird. It's possible, though. But yeah, so it's either going to be, Janemba and Super Gogeta, or if it's someone else than like the Goku Piccolo, then there would be need to be another singular easy A to go along with it, like the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, or like a Tapion and Minosha type thing. But I definitely think that the first anniversary headliners is a much stronger guess for the 10th anniversary easy A's, right? So yeah, I think it would definitely be them. And again, there's not a ton of Dokkan Fest. They don't really do a lot of Movie Heroes Dokkan Fest anyway. Like, there's Dokkan Fest LRs all over the place because the major headliners that come out of movies are usually going to be big enough to be like Dokkan Fest LRs. But there aren't a ton of Dokkan Fest that are just TURs. I suppose we do have the Pikkon and Janemba leaders here, like both on respectively like movie heroes and then movie bosses. But again, I don't know if they're quite anniversary level. This seems like more of like a Golden Week type of thing that they might get easy A's for or something. Saiyan Day, right? So yeah, like this guy's brand new. He definitely wouldn't be getting an easy A. This guy's definitely still too new. Physical God Goku and then the STR Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Yeah, those are definitely not getting easy A's yet. Yeah, so again, just not a ton of options available. I think we've got it pretty narrowed down here. For like the movie hero section, and then we can quickly take a glance through movie bosses, which again has seen a ton of help during the last couple of months, just because we had the entire worldwide download celebration season was focused around Broly and all of these like extreme class buffs that we were getting. So movie bosses has just been touched an insane amount, and there really isn't much left sitting here now, right? One of the main things for movie bosses would potentially be this guy. The physical legendary Super Saiyan Broly could get his Super Easy A. He is still one of the oldest Dokkan Fest that doesn't yet have the Super Easy A. He is in one of the like next up pool characters. And while it's definitely okay, it would be bittersweet for that to happen, right? Because the first thing that would be nice is that he would definitely get help, right? That's one of the huge things, is that like he has an amazing team right now. So if he were to get his Super Easy A, he definitely has a spot, because the Broly team is one of the best teams in the game currently. Whereas if we wait another year and that team falls off and then he gets a Super Easy A, maybe now he just isn't relevant because you don't have a place to run him. So it could be good to see that, but also I know that a lot of people would be very salty about a headlining space in the anniversary being wasted on yet another Broly card when we just got like 6 in the past 3 months, right? So yeah, but definitely possible. I wouldn't count it completely out of the question. Dokkan has done crazier things before. Okay, so that is all I've got on movies. I'm going to take the Goku Piccolo off here because I think, again, my solid guess really is the Super Gogeta and Janemba there. Okay, so let's move on to Dragon Ball Super. So now we've got 2 headlining spots. So one thing that we have to talk about is the banner units. Those are going to be 2 of our headlining spots here, would be the banner units. So one of the banner units I think is potentially possible here would be like a Golden Frieza. So like an Angel Golden Frieza from Tournament of Power. Obviously we've seen the Angel Golden Frieza Dokkan Fest that I have depicted here. But other than that, and then like maybe the Goku Frieza LR, there really isn't a ton of representation for the like Universe 7 Frieza. You know, we have like the Final Form Frieza that transforms. But yeah, I think it would be maybe a cool idea for a banner unit. Again, I don't know how solidly it fits in with the theme of, you know, rivals and whatever, but it does make, I mean, it makes sense as Goku's rival, right? Just maybe not specifically Tournament of Power Frieza, because they were working alongside each other rather than being enemies. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I feel like it could loosely follow the theme of the anniversary. Oh, but I also wanted to mention that the, I need to jump back a second to the movies portion of things. The Super Saiyan 2 Bojack Gohan here, I was also potentially thinking of him as maybe like a banner unit. Just because we had, you know, in part 1 here, the Blue Vegeta headlining LR could have a banner unit Golden Frieza to go along with it, because it follows the same, you know, could help buff that unit or whatever. And then I think the same thing with the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan being the banner unit for like the Dokkan Fest Family Kamehameha Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Could be interesting. And then especially if the headliner was a some type of exchange unit or something like that, or they had a slightly different name, like if one of them was an exchange unit or something, so that they could actually be like link up together and be run side by side, or if one of them transformed, right? Like if it was the banner unit was a Super Saiyan 1 Gohan that transformed into Super Saiyan 2, so that you could run him next to the Family Kamehameha one, something like that. Could be interesting. But yeah, so those are kind of my ideas for banner units. And then for Super, we would also have one of the Part 2 Carnival LRs that would be coming out alongside the Family Kamehameha. I would like to see a Super 17. Now, there is a little bit of representation for Super 17 within, like, Dragon Ball Super, you know, within Dokkan, but it's just not, like, his own stuff, right? He's got the, like, tech banner unit. Matter of fact, let's go on the wiki and take a look at this. Okay, so for Android 17's representation, he's got, and again, we're talking about, like, specifically Dragon Ball Super Android 17, because there is also just the normal Android 17s from, like, the, you know, Dragon Ball Z, like, Android Saga, but obviously that's not what I'm referring to here. So, specifically for the Super ones, he's got the banner unit that Easy Aid, he's got this free-to-play int unit that Easy Aid, and then he has the physical Dokkan Fest that's Easy Aid, which is one of those units that's lost in limbo, where he's currently, you know, mega ultra power crept out of being able to be used, but he's still not even remotely close. He is years away from receiving a Super Easy A, right? So that's just kind of a bummer. And then that's basically it as far as the solo cards are concerned, because then we've got the int androids, but that's a combo card with him in Android 18, and then same deal with these two LRs, both of the Part 2 LRs from the 6th anniversary that have already Super Easy Aid, and you know, we don't even have like summonable LR Easy A's yet, so that's not something we could call into question. I mean, these guys' Easy A's are actually still really good, and both of these do include Android 17, but they're just not solo Android 17 cards. Do I need to stress, like, this guy won the Tournament of Power. He was the sole victor out of all of the strongest fighters in the universe. Not in just the universe, in all universes, right? Like, that's quite an accomplishment. The fact that he has just super aged out Dokkan Fest, 2 joined forces LRs that are decent right now, and then these 2 like kind of fodder level characters. I mean, okay, this one with this recent Easy A is like decent, but not really, right? So I think he could definitely be deserving of like a Carnival LR, right? An LR Android 17, I think is definitely something that we need. Yeah, especially if you consider the only 2 LRs that do represent him, while not solo his name, are also not Carnival. They're both Yellow Coin LRs. They're not Carnival LRs, because these came out prior to them doing the whole Carnival LR thing for anniversaries. So yeah, I think that that's definitely a good idea for a pick there, is Android 17. Okay, and then, yeah, I guess we can look back through like the rest of like superheroes and super bosses, just to kind of see what else could potentially be in Super, because, you know, mainly like my choices covered like the Tournament of Power and things like that, But obviously, Super is going to be inclusive of a lot more things. You know, because you do have like the superhero movies potentially that could touch some stuff or be covered. And then, you know, you also have like the entire Goku Black arc and things like that. Not necessarily just the Tournament of Power itself, right? So there is a kind of a infinite potential options that they could do something with here. But again, if we're looking at specifically Easy A's and stuff, I think we do run into the same situation where there aren't a ton of Dokkan Fest that are like ready to be Easy Aid or Super Easy Aid or anything like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say, and it's really hard to pick with those new headliners what they could be. There's so many different options. Obviously, you know, comparative to like the rest of Dragon Ball Z, we haven't seen quite as much redone over time with Super, just because Super obviously didn't exist at the beginning of this game's lifespan, so there just isn't as much yet that's been like filled out and done. But yeah, I'm sure we could see some pretty cool things. Let me take a look at super bosses and see if I notice any like gaping holes here. It's kind of really the thing is Frieza, right? I feel like a lot of the biggest super boss names have been covered, right? We've handled Jiren, we've definitely handled Broly, we handled Zamasu last year. Cell Max has even been included in here. Like we're chilling on all the biggest super bosses. Maybe like Hit could be interesting. And Hit might follow along with, like, rivals, too, right? Maybe a little bit more than someone like 17. Yeah, this was another thing I was thinking about. Because all the Part 1 LRs are Super type. Between the Blue Vegeta, the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then the Super Vegito, they're all Super type. So yeah, that would actually be a really, really strong idea to get rid of Android 17 and put Hit. To add an extreme type unit in there and buff extreme teams, which actually would be kind of an L now that I think about it, because Hit is the kind of extreme unit that doesn't really buff extreme teams that much, just because he kind of can mainly be run on like super teams with other like Universe 6 and stuff, right? Okay, so to bring up the rear here and end my ramblings, we will talk about the Majin Buu saga. So at the time of recording this video, I don't know how many of you are aware, but it has already been announced. Oh, spoilers. It has already been announced that Int Buhan and AGL Super Vegito are getting their Super Easy A's. We did see that announced. That is happening. So we know for sure that these are two of the slots here, and I just went ahead and put them on the small square slots. So then all we have to figure out here are who these two new headlining units are going to be, right? Well, first we have to do a little bit of deduction to see what headliners we have left, right? So for part 1, we've got the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and the Super Vegito that are our two Carnival LRs, and then we have our Blue Vegeta, that is the Dokkan Fest LR, with the potential banner unit Golden Frieza is what we're going with, right? So now, for part 2, we have it designated where we're going to have Android 17 and who else did we have in there? Oh, right, we have to pick him right here. LR Kid Buu would be our Carnival LRs for part 2, and then the Dokkan Fest would be the Family Kamehameha Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So yeah, I think that's pretty solid, and I think that this would stand for Android 17 being like a higher chance for a pick over someone like Hit, because then Buu would be filling that extreme class slot for us, right? And I think that Kid Buu is one of the strongest options on this list. I think other than some of those like anniversary LR Easy A's that we know are going to happen, I think that the LR Kid Buu being one of the headliners here could be a pretty solid guess. We are just so long overdue for it. I think after Cell Max finally being added to the game, you know, getting our Dokkan Fest Lord Slug, like basically everything except for like Super Baby 2 has been acknowledged at this point. I think it's like Kid Goku and Demon King Piccolo being some type of major headliners, and then Super Baby 2 being a major headliner. Literally, Kid Buu is the only one that's left, needing like a real representation in an LR character. So yeah, I think that that's a really, really solid guess. So that's our 3 LRs, and then our banner unit that, again, would go alongside the Family Kamehameha would be like the Super Saiyan 2 Bojack movie Gohan. So now we've covered the 3 headliners, so the Dokkan Fest headliner in the banner unit, plus the 2 Carnival LRs for part 1, and then we also just did that for part 2. But we've got 1 headlining spot left, based on the amount of squares that are bigger, right? Because there were actually 10 squares that were bigger. So 4 occupy part 1, 4 occupy part 2, and then 1 occupies the free-to-play LR with the full power Jackie Chun here. So what's this last big slot for? Why is there 1 more headliner? What does that mean? What are they going to do? Might be something special. So this is the thing that I noticed here, that I'm like, wait a minute, based on the number of big squares in this, it looks like there's going to be 1 extra headliner. I have an idea. So I think it's not actually going to be another unit. I think it's unlikely that they drop another like Carnival LR or another Dokkan Fest LR in like part 3 or something. I think that that's very unlikely. I don't think that that's where they're going with this and adding a new banner. I think what is more likely to happen is they finally introduce the inception of and start the years-long process of doing all of them, summonable LR EZAs. So I think that AGL LR Majin Vegeta could be the very first summonable LR Super EZA that we get. I said EZA originally, I meant Super EZA. So yeah, I think that they maybe made this box bigger for him because that is a pretty big deal, right? Aside from just getting a brand new Dokkan Fest, having a summonable LR get a Super EZA would be definitely big hype enough to be considered like that as a unit. If he was good, which I would assume they would make him extremely busted, one of the best units in the game, that could definitely carry an entire part of the anniversary, like part 3. So yeah, that's my predict. That's what I think is going to be happening. Let me know what you guys think about my little theory with the size of these boxes. Obviously, I'm hoping that they fill out the roadmap as it goes and show us specifically where these units are being placed in it, so that we can help track that theory and see if my theory is correct. Obviously, the first thing will be once the AGL Vegito and the Int Buhan get placed on here, we'll see if they're placed exactly where I put them on these smaller boxes. If they get placed on the big boxes on the Majin Buu Saga, portion of this, then obviously my theory is out the window immediately. But yeah, if they get placed in the small boxes, then that goes along with what I'm thinking here. So we'll see how much of this I have right. Let me know what things you agree with and you'd want to see as well. Let me know what things you think I am absolutely batshit crazy for even attempting to put on this list. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.